All right, guys, back at the lake. First hand, we look down at King, King, Queen 10, single suited under the gun in a straddle pot. I decided to limp here because if I raise and then get 3-bet, with it being a straddle pot, it's going to be a much larger 3-bet. So I decided to limp with the intention of calling a raise. So we don't get any raises, 4 other players, and we're going 6 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace, ace, 4 with 2 spades. I check when it checks to me and action checks through. So still 6 ways to a turn. Turn brings a king, I bet 25 and we get 1 caller, so heads up to a river. River brings a 3, and with under full houses, you typically can't get full value. So I bet 30, thinking that if I get called, I'm ahead, and if I get raised, I'm probably beat. My opponent does call, and he turns over ace queen and mucks his other 2 cards after I show him my hand. So 9-7-5-5, this is the hand I folded. I know it looks very nice, but it really gets into some very troublesome spots. Really, the way you make the most money in this game is by dominating others, and this hand is not going to have very many boards that do that. You would actually rather have, say that 5 of hearts was an 8 of hearts, 9-8-7-5 double suited. That would be a much better hand in my opinion, as you're going to flop a lot of nut wraps, which are going to dominate other straight draws. So let me know what you guys think about that. So here I look down at ace, king, queen 10, single suited under the gun in a straddled pot. I make it 40. We get 1 late position caller and the straddler call. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes king 9-8 with 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I decide to check back. If this board was rainbow, I definitely would have been more likely to c-bet. But as played, I check and the late position player checks. So still 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings another 8. Straddler bets 105. I fold and the late position player folds. So the straddler's going to take it down. Here look down at ace, king, 10-7, single suited in the big blind. There's 3 limpers. The button makes it 30. Small blind calls, I call, and the limpers call. So we're going 6 ways to a flop. Flop comes queen 8-5 rainbow. Small blind bets 150 and I fold. Here look down at 7-6-5-3 double suited in the hijack. Action folds to me. I open to 20 and both the blinds call. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace, jack 5 with 2 diamonds. Both my opponents check to me. I bet 30 and both players call. So still 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings a queen of spades. Big blind bets 120. I fold and the other player folds, so he takes it down. Ace, ace, 8-2 double suited under the gun in a straddled pot. I make it 40 and we get 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes queen 10-7 rainbow. When it checks to me, I check. Late position player bets 60. Small blind pushes for 300. Folds to me, I fold, and late position calls. They end up going heads up to a turn of a deuce and river of a 6. And the small blind ended up having pocket queens and holding. Here look down at ace, jack 8-7 double suited under the gun. I make it 20 and we get 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes queen 8-6 rainbow. When it checks to me, I check and late position players check, so we're going 4 ways still to a turn. Turn brings a king of hearts, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. I check, late position player bets 40, he gets 1 caller and I fold. Here look down at king, king, queen, queen, single suited in the small blind in a straddled pot. There's 1 limper, the button makes it 50. I 3-bet to 175, back to the button who makes the call, so heads up to a flop. Flop comes 4-3-2 rainbow, so not the best board, but not the worst either, and with this SPR, I just kind of have to go with it, so I push, and my opponent quickly calls, so we're going heads up to a run out. Turn brings a 9 of diamonds, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. River brings probably the worst card in the deck and the ace of diamonds, so obviously now a lot of straights, any single ace now beats me. I sheepishly turn over my hand, and he says we're good, so fortunate to be doubling up here. Here look down at ace, king, king 4, single suited in middle position in a straddled pot. Player to my right makes it 30. I call and there's 4 other callers, so we're going 6 ways to a flop. Flop comes 8-6-2 rainbow. Checks to the original raiser who bets 185 and I fold. Here look down at ace, ace 7-4 rainbow in middle position. There's 1 early position limp. I make it 25 and there are 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10-9-6 with 2 spades. When it checks to me, I check. Late position player bets 60. Small blind calls, folds to me, I fold. King, queen, 7-6 single suited. This is a fold in my opinion, but it's very close to being playable. Your 3 components of hands are high, suited, and connected. So it has only 2 high cards, way too many gaps, and it's only single suited. If you're gonna play single suited hands, you want it to be the nut suit, as you know, king high flushes often are gonna get in trouble. So let me know what you guys think. Look down at king, jack 10-6 double suited under the gun in a straddled pot. I limp, 1 late position limper, both the blinds complete, and the straddler checks. So we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes queen 9-5 rainbow, gets to the straddler who bets 25. I definitely could have raised here, but I elected to take the lower variance route and just call, and there's 3 other callers, so we're still going 5 ways to a turn. Turn brings a queen, checks to the player to my right who bets 110, and I fold. Here I'm the straddler in a straddle pot. I look down at ace king 9-2 double suited. There's 3 late position callers. Both the blinds complete back to me, and I make it 70, and we only get 1 call, so we're going heads up to a flop. So my quick thoughts on straddling: if everyone is agreeing to do it, I don't want to be the person that kind of ruins it for the table, so I'll go along with it. I try to be as good for the game as possible. I mean, obviously I'm trying to win and I'm, filming my sessions and everything, but these are people I'm going to play with multiple times. So, I understand that if they were to pick who would be the best person for the game, like the most action, everything like that, obviously I'm going to be at the bottom of the list, not trying to toot my own horn, but obviously I'm tighter than most. I don't really buy in as much as some other players do. So I want to try to be as good for the game as I possibly could while also playing my game and trying to, have the best results I could. Ball comes king 7-3 rainbow. I bet 125 and my opponent quickly folds, so we take it down. Here look down at queen jack 9-8 single suited in the cutoff. There's 1 early position limper. I make it 25. The button, 1 of the blinds, and the limper call. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Well comes king 10-3 rainbow. When it checks to me, I bet 60 and only the button call. So we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 3 of diamonds, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. And here, obviously not a great turn card for me, but I can't win the hand or get him to fold by checking. So I bet 215. He only has about $300 left. So, essentially putting them all in. Obviously, if he pushes, I'm going to be forced to call. And he thinks for a little bit and folds. So happy to get that one through. Very next hand dealt, I look down at jack 10-8 single suited in the hijack. There's 1 early position limper. I limp and a couple other players. We're going 5 ways to a flop. Well comes 10-5-3 rainbow. Small blind bets $10. Folds to me. Not the best flop for me, but for that price, I go ahead and make the call and 2 other callers. So we're going 4 ways to a turn. Turn brings one of the good cards for us in an 8 and checks to me. I bet 50, obviously knowing that I probably have the best hand here, but there's definitely a lot of cards on the river. They're going to bring in multiple straights. So I bet 50 and everyone calls. So we're going 4 ways still to a river. River looks to be a pretty safe card in another 3 and checks to me. I don't really believe I can get value from worse. So I just decided to check and late position players check. So I turn over my hand and we're good, taking it down. Here look down at jack 9-8 single suited in the small blind. There's 4 late position limpers. I check my option and the big blind does as well. So we're going 6 ways to a flop. Flop comes jack 10-7 with 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I bet 25 and we get 2 callers. So we're going 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 2. I bet 105 and we get 1 caller. So we're going heads up to a river. River brings another 10. I bet 100, putting him all in, and he makes the call. I turn over my hand and he mucks his hand, but turns over 10-7. So don't see his other 2 cards, but it looks like he was drawing pretty close to dead, and we're taking it down. Here look down at ace queen 10 single suited in the small blind. Hijack limps, cutoff makes it 20. The button calls, I call, big blind gets out of the way, and the hijack calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace 9-7 rainbow. I checks to the original raiser who bet 60. The button calls and back to me. I decided to just call with plans of check raising on a blank turn and the hijack fold. So we're just going 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings another 9, so I'm going to stick with the plan here and check, hoping to check raise. Unfortunately, the original raiser checks and the button also checks, so we're going still 3 ways to a river. River brings a 6, so obviously I can't slow play anymore. I bet 120. The original raiser folds and the button, he thinks a little bit and makes the call. I turn over my hand and we're good. So regarding slow playing, I feel that slow playing is kind of like going for the 2-point conversion in football. If it works out in your favor, you're a genius. If it doesn't work out in your favor, you're an idiot. Here I decided to slow play because the player in late position is pretty aggressive. Obviously it didn't work out, but who knows? Maybe I got some extra value by checking the turn and allowing someone to make the straight on the river. Here look down at ace king 5 single suited in the big blind. There's a couple early position limpers. Late position player makes it 30. Folds to me, I call, and the 2 limpers call. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes about as good as it can get with this hand. King queen 6 with 2 spades. I check to the original raiser who bets 75, and I decide to go with a check raise of just under 3x with 220. Folds back to the original raiser who quickly folds. Here look down at ace queen jack rainbow in middle position. There's an early position limp. I limp. Couple late position limpers. Both the blinds check. We're going 6 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10-9-8 with 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I bet 20, and we get 1 late position caller. So we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 7 of hearts, putting a one-liner on the board. I bet 55, want to charge him for any kind of flush draws, which is his most likely holding, and he makes the call. So we're going heads up to a river. River doesn't change the fact we have the nuts and the 5 of spades. I bet 115 and my opponent folds. I look down at king 9, 8, 8, double suited on the button. Folds to me, I make it 20, and both the blinds call. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes jack 8-2 rainbow. When it checks to me, I bet 40 and both players call, so still 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings a queen of hearts, giving me the backdoor flush draw. Checks to the big blind who pushes for 125. I make the call and the small blind thinks for a bit before folding, so heads up to a river. River brings another queen. I turn over my hand and my opponent mucks. Ace 8 4-3 single suited in early position. So this is a hand that falls in the category of almost playable in my opinion. As I mentioned earlier, if you're going to play hands that are single suited, you definitely want the nut suit as this hand has, but that's really the only component it has. You definitely need multiple components to your hand. This has too many gaps. You're going to make a lot of like second and third best straights, which are going to get you into a lot of trouble. So this is a fold from early position for me. I played another orbit after that ace 8 4-3 hand, didn't get a ton to play and decided to rack up. What's up guys, Wayne back here with you. So that's going to do it for this one. As always, feel free to comment below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. If you like seeing me win 4 figures, you'll definitely want to check out the previous vlog. You'll find that up here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.